Good morning, everyone. Today is the 25th of July. That means that today is the day where your second evaluation, individual evaluation, is going to be on. I've got a PowerPoint, Octavio, to share with you. And so Rocio is joining the class. So before we go with the debate itself, we are going to refresh a little bit your memory about the instructions given. And then after that, we are going to start immediately with the debates. Remember that the time that is asked is the maximum time given. If you speak less than that, it's fine. But I will stop the chronometer in 2 minutes. I will not stop it before. So if a person speaks for 30 seconds, okay, you speak 30 seconds. But I stop the chronometer in 2 minutes. All right, so if in between you want to paraphrase or you just stop and it takes a silence there in between, it will happen. But the time is the one that I just said. So the first thing we are going to be doing is that I'm going to share the screen, revise the instructions with you. After that, I will call the roll to check your attendance. And as soon as we finish with that, we will revise the rubric of evaluation together to clarify any doubts or questions that may be possible. And as soon as we finish, we start with group number 1. All right? So let's get started. As I said, the first thing we are going to be doing now is that I'm going to share the screen to revise what we saw last class. Last class, we were talking about what a debate is. We saw the definition, mainly talking about this formal process with arguments and defense, where we have to consider the opening arguments, further arguments, key points, rebuttals, closing arguments, that you have to take turns, that you have to use the time given. It is something that is planned, so you have the opportunity to prepare your argument. Remember to be persuasive, okay, and have a logical and structured argument. Remember that there are 2 stages that we already saw for the argument stage and rebuttal stage. We took a look at the language that you could use there. Remember that when you say, when you have the rebuttal stage, especially for speakers 2, 3, and 4, mainly, speaker number 4, you have to consider what the other persons say. So when you are talking, you also have the chance to present your part and talk about what the others presented. So you need to have your argument. As we said in part 1, it's the argumental stage. You do your part, but also you have to use the contra-argument part with the rebuttal stage. And that could be factual, moral, or logically flawed. So you can say why the other part is not correct in what they are saying. Talking about the time given, it is the maximum. So each speaker 1 has a minute, each speaker 2, 2 minutes, each speaker 3, 2 minutes, and each speaker 4, 1 minute. So I insist it's the maximum. So as soon as you reach that moment, reach that time, I say thank you, and then we go on with the rest, even if you haven't finished your argument. So remember that that is the time that you have as the speakers to argument and also to rebut. We also took a look at the templates for debate speeches. So we had for the first, second, and third speaker for proposition and opposition team. We didn't include the fourth because that it depends on what you're doing, right? And we were talking about our motion based on what we did in the previous lessons. The topics were volunteering, relationships, human relationships, and talking about the community life. Someone is trying to enter the room, so let me see. Belen. And we said that our motion is this house believes that Bomberos de Chile should always stay as an all-volunteer force. So as I said, this is what we mentioned last class, and our next step is going to be to call the roll. All right, so let me see if you are all present today. Today is the 25th of July. So we start with Agustin.
Present.
Francisca Arancibia. Francisca Arancibia.
Here.
Giovanni Agüero.
Present, Miss.
Camila Murga.
Present.
Matías Costa.
Present.
Octavio Quiroz.
Present.
Sebastián Lara.
Present.
Sofía Carrasco.
Present, Miss.
Maida Campuzano. I'm sorry, Rocío Aravena. No, it's Rocío
Present.
Aravena, right? Yes,
Yes.
Rocío Aravena. Maida Campuzano. Maida?
¿Me escucha?
Yes,
Present.
now I hear you there. Alexis Zareki.
Present.
Grisel Guerrero.
Present.
Matías Riquelme.
Present, Miss.
Josefina Merino.
Present.
Belén Olmos.
Present.
Joaquín Duarte, I'm sorry. I forgot Joaquín. Joaquín Duarte.
Present.
And Belén said she was present. Cristóbal Montero. Cristóbal Montero. Cristóbal Montero. Fabricio Montero. Fabricio. Felipe Catalán.
Present.
Felipe Hinojosa.
Present.
Eduardo Rojas.
Present.
Josefa Sánchez. Josefa.
I'm calling her, but she's not answering for now.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. Maximiliano Terán. Renata Millas.
Present.
Rodrigo Brito.
Morning.
Morning. Sebastiana Lazarus.
Present.
Hello, Catalina Cuña, I heard you. Joaquín Quesada. Joaquín Quesada. Rocío Bugüeño.
Present.
Hello, Rocío. Okay, so here we are. Now we're ready with that, and I will activate it again if necessary. So let's talk about the rubric of the debate. It is an oral speaking activity that is one of your evaluations, one progress test. This is progress of speaking because that is the skill we were practicing now. In terms of description, it says students are provided a controversial topic. Following research, they are assigned a position to debate with other students. Follow-up discussion of the debate can critically analyze the performance as well. So we are going to be talking about your performance once you finish. Learning outcomes. So what is the thing that you're going to be able to do? It says students will be able to orally interact using connectors, linking expressions, and a proper use of the language, while showing a full degree of understanding of the questions asked by their peers. Why did I put understanding of the questions asked by the peers? Because of the rebuttal stage, where you have to counter-argument what the other team said or another speaker said. So, for example, if you're speaker number 3 and you want to mention something that speaker number 1 or speaker number 2 mentioned previously, you have to say, okay, and Catalina, for example, when you said this or that, in my opinion, it is morally flawed because, and you give the reasons. The objective, to generate effective critical thinking into primary issues in the given topic. What is the topic? Volunteering. This is advanced learners, B2+. and the total score is 20 points. What are we evaluating? We are assessing the organization, and to reach excellent, the 4 points, it says that all the arguments are organized in a logical way around a main idea. In terms of debating itself, it says all the contrary arguments are accurate, relevant, and strong. The use of facts, all the arguments are supported by several relevant facts, statistics, and or examples. So support your evidence. Information, all the information presented in the debate is clear and precise. And presentation and language, the team used continuously gestures, eye contact, tone of voice, level of enthusiasm, and language in a way that they catch the audience attention. So as you can see, in the part of presentation and language, it says the team, but remember that this assessment is individual. So it is not something that you are going to have like per group, but it is per person. All right, so if a person does it well, that person is going to get the whole score. So now that we all saw it, please remember what we said here. The stages need to be accomplished, that the vocabulary you use is important, that you can have as a rebuttal, you can have for arguments that can be factually, morally, or logically flawed, and the time given. So tell me, are you ready? Is the team complete?
No.
What happened with the team number 1? Because I see
We're
that,
calling our classmates.
okay, so you are missing one classmate.
Yeah, just one.
What about Fabricio? Did Fabricio arrive?
No, Fabricio is the only one that hasn't arrived yet.
From your group. Okay,
Miss,
Cristobal.
I'm here. I am present.
Cristobal?
No, Maximiliano Terán.
Maximiliano. Okay, good. Good to know. Joaquin didn't show up. And Josefa Sanchez?
She's not here yet.
She's not here yet.
I'm here too.
Who?
Joaquín Quesada.
Joaquin, thank you. So we are waiting for Josefa, Fabricio, and Cristobal Montero. Am I right? Okay, let me see if Mrs. Duarte Ana Paola is connected with us. Ana Paola, are you here? No, she's not, apparently. Yes, she is. Okay, Ana Paola. If she's okay, she's connected. She entered the group. Ana Paola is going to be listening to you, and she's going to be watching the video, the recording with me, so we can choose. We can share opinion about the performance of the teams. Okay, she's going to be paying attention to your arguments as well. Catalina, you are group number 1. Am I right?
Yeah.
Let me check. You were with. Let me find the page. It says that Catalina, your group is with the group of Fabricio, and we're still working for Fabricio because he's in the opposition team.
And we're waiting for Josef as well. We both need someone else.
Yeah, we are going to wait for 5 minutes maximum while you can revise your notes. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to practice and revise your notes. And if not, we just go with the persons who are present. All right, so from now on, 5 minutes for you to practice and clarify doubts and questions.
Miss, the order, just to be clear, it's what the introduction of team 1, introduction of team 2, the first argument from team 1, the first argument from team 2, like that all the time, or it's different?
Now, I'm going to show you with this. Okay, so we have speaker 1 of the proposition team. So it is you, Catalina, right?
No.
No? Okay, but speaker 1 from your team, from the proposition team, starts. does the presentation, finishes in the minute, speaker 1 of the opposition team. Then speaker 2 has to consider, speaker 2 of the proposition team considers what the previous speaker mentioned and gives her argument, because it's the first person that argues position. Okay, so it gives the arguments. When these speakers finish, we go with the speakers number 2 of the opposition team, and does the same. They, or he or she, pays attention to the previous arguments given, comments them, and argues position. Then we have speakers 3, opposition, and we close with the speakers 4 of proposition, and we finish with the speaker 4 of opposition. So that's the way it is. It is all complete. When you have your presentation, for example, speaker 1 does the whole presentation in the minute. And then speakers number 2, they do, the speakers number 2, the whole presentation using the templates given. I don't know if it was a question that you asked.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure of the order of the teams and who it was, because some of us thought I was like just in one seat, the whole thing, and it didn't make sense.
That's right. Okay, so I'm going to be waiting for the 5 minutes to pass. So 9:25, we are supposed to be starting, okay? So what about 9:25? And we wait for the rest. You can stay connected and you can talk among you. We start with the team of Catalina, Josefa, Belén, Matías, Giovanni, Rocío, Josefina, Fabricio, Maximiliano, Rodrigo, Sofía, Matías, Rocío, Francisca, and Octavio. Don't forget to have your cameras on when you're doing your presentation, all right? Remember to follow the template. In 4 minutes, we start. Okay, so as far as I know, Montero is present now.
Yes, Miss.
Cristóbal? Okay,
So sorry.
don't worry. I'm waiting, still waiting for Fabricio. Is it Fabricio Montero who arrived or Cristóbal?
Cristóbal.
Okay, we're waiting for Fabricio then, and Josefa Sanchez. 2 minutes to start.
Miss, it's all right if we can't like rebuttal all the arguments because we don't have that much people now.
Okay, try to do your best.
All right.
Considering the situation, of course, right?
Miss,
Yes?
si algunas compañeras no están, ¿tenemos como que improvisar su parte o saltarla solamente?
You just skip.
Ah, ya, gracias.
Welcome.
Hello, Miss.
Who's saying hello?
I'm really sorry.
But let me see. Fabricio Montero. There
Yes.
you are. I found you. Thank you for showing. 1 minute before we start. So Josefa Sanchez is the only one absent. Am I right? Yes, apparently. Okay, so do not forget that speakers number 1 are going to be, I'm going to show you for the last time these because I want you to do it the way I told you. Don't forget that speakers number 1 have to do the introduction and explaining the team split. I know you know it, but just revision. Remember, this is the maximum of the time, but I'm going to stop the chronometer once the time is achieved,
Miss,
not before. Yes?
can you show the negative template a little bit?
But
speaker.
what speaker?
The speaker 2, please.
Speaker 2, negative? This one?
Yes, that one. Thanks.
Yes, please do not forget to follow the templates. You have to follow the same steps, the same stages. Just in case you don't remember, all this information is at Aula Virtual, so you can download it, the PowerPoint, and also the evaluation chart. Just for us to refresh our memory, the evaluation chart considers organization, that talks about how your arguments are organized in a logical and coherent way. Then debates that all the contrary arguments are accurate, relevant, and strong. The use of facts, the way you support your evidence, information, the information that you present is clear and precise. Presentation of language is not only the speaking language, but also the body language, talking about gesture, eye contact, tone of voice, level of enthusiasm, and all that. Of course, the attention of the audience is important. We already revised all this information, so that means that we are going to start right now. And the first teams that are going to start are going to be the teams from the proposition: Catalina, Josefa, Belén, Matías, Giovanni, Rocío, Josefina. Opposition team: Fabricio, Maximiliano, Rodrigo, Sofía, Matías, Rocío, Francisca, and Octavio. Do not forget that the proposition team always starts, and I'm not going to make any comments during the presentation. I'm just going to make the comments in case it is necessary. I'm going to be using a chronometer, and I will let you know when your time is finished. Okay? So it is 9:26, and the moment is now. You can start.
Good morning, Miss Daniela and classmates. The topic for our debate is that firefighters should be a volunteer force. Our team is formed by the introducers, Rocio and me, the argumenters, Josefina and Matías, the contrary argumenters, Josefa and Catalina, and the conclusion will be made by Belén. We, the affirmative team, believe that this statement is true. But before to start the debate, we want to define one concept: the word volunteer. This word defines a person who acts selfless. In other words, a person to do good things without expecting anything in exchange. A volunteering is the foundation of the firefighters. They are based in helping the people and no wage nothing for their services. They give all they got for duties, and in some sadly cases, they lose their lives, becoming in heroes.
Thank you.
Speaker 1, 2. Okay. The rules have been the thing that has impulsed this institution since its creation on 1851, and a product of a fire that had taken place in Valparaiso. After this fire is created the first company of firefighters volunteers in our country. Later this will be seen all around it. These first companies were financed in their totality by the aristocrat class, but little by little this elite stopped financing them. And the firefighters began to depend more and more of the charity of others. In these days, this institution makes various activities to finance itself, like the famous raffles.
Okay, thank you, Rocío.
This is not enough. Yeah.
Thank you. Continue.
Okay, for our first argument, we want to emphasize the value of the volunteering, because it's the main cause of the firefighting work. This is relevant because it alienates the institution from corruption cases that are commonly found in other private entities in the country. And in my opinions, the firefighters institution, it can be corrupted. They have a tradition that is powerful and honorable. Josefa, can you continue, please?
Yes. I want to contrast 2 points that are very important to keep in mind. First, the ambition that money causes to human beings, and the values of generosity and empathy that are characteristic of volunteers. First of all, firefighters do their work because they want. That means that they don't receive any economical retribution. So it's important to consider that if volunteers would be doing their job knowing they receive money, the objective of firefighters would be interrupted by ambition. I mean, there could be a strong desire to obtain the result in order to have retribution. In consequence, a strong emotion could distract the essential of the work. Simply, if we put ourselves in a situation where firefighters are receiving a salary, this beautiful tradition would be left behind. And if this happens, what do you think it would happen with the values of generosity and empathy? I think that not everybody is qualified to be at the service of the other, and not everyone would risk their lives to save others. However, I think that everyone would like to participate, and the healthy competition, courage, and fundamental skills, either generosity or empathy, would not be prioritized, and that it's not moral. In other order of ideas, we all know that carrying a double job involves physical and emotional stress, but in this instance, things should be put on a scale. It's better to prioritize to help people in need, highlighting empathy and generosity, and at the same time, receive psychological attendance than set aside social action. With this, I want to say that people should put things on a scale instead of set aside the social action. And to finish with my arguments, I can say that if firefighters are receiving a salary and money or are part of the state, fundamental characteristics of firefighters would be put aside because of the ambitious desire of the being. That are my arguments. You can continue.
Thank you. I have a question for you, Matthias. Are you going to say something else in relation to your presentation?
Nope.
No? Okay, so now it is the time for the opposition team to do their speakers, because now it is speaker one, then the other speaker one, speaker two, and then the other speaker two. So you don't have to go on like in a row, all right? So I'm going to wait for the opposition team to finish with the speakers two, and then we go with the speaker three. Proposition, speaker three. Opposition, and we finish with speaker four. Proposition, speaker four, proposition, all right? So now, opposition team, you have your time.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Sofia Carrasco, and together with Francisca Arancibia, we will present the introduction of our bench. Our team believes that the Chilean Fire Department shouldn't be a volunteer, since it is a job with high risk and high demand by the community.
Who are the firefighters? Firefighters are a service of public utility. This means that to serve all people. They attend emergency caused by nature like earthquakes or floods followed by the concern of men, as happened with many fires and accidents.
In our opinion, the Chilean Fire Department is looked down on. This institution was born in 1851 as a result of the great fire that affected the port of Valparaiso that year.
What benefit do they have? Health benefits. Since 1940, they have agreements for medical and pharmaceutical care. It also includes the surviving support for who dies in service. What is a pension of grace? It is a benefit that aims to improve the quality of life of people who are living in a situation of social vulnerability.
Chilean National Fire Academy in 1988 it was created, which fulfills the role as a university of firefighters, which developed a demanding curriculum match.
On 2018, the Senate approved the project, the benefit granted to firefighters for an accident, and disease and the other legislation applied to the institution. The main objectives of the project was firefighting money is exclusively to emergency care.
On 2018 was published a norm that grants benefit to the member of the fire department who suffer accident or contract illness due to their participation in acts of service, when attending them or in activities that directly relate to the fire department. The highway concessionary Ruta del Pacífico frees fire factor for all tolls.
Thanks for your attention.
Right on time. Thank you, speakers one. Speakers number two, opposition team.
Good morning to the opposite bench, teacher, moderator. My name is Rodrigo Orito, and together with Maximilian Duran, we will proceed to present the arguments of our house. For us, the Chilean Fire Department should not be an all-volunteer force due to the high risk and high demand it has for the community. As a whole, we believe that the Chilean Fire Department should be a career that develops in a paid job for the following reasons. To improve the effectiveness in the event or effect of a large forest chemical incident. To explain this, we will take the context of the series of forest fires in the southern sector of the country during the months during the months of January and February of the year 2017, where more than 587,000 hectares were burned. If Bomberos de Chile were a professional entity, we believe that the impact would have been less. We must put aside sentimentality for volunteering and start working preventively in all cases. They need to work preventively to later combat in a better way the risk management that the emergency may bring. In the event that the fire department does not want to stop being a volunteer, there is the possibility of implementing a mixed system. One percentage of the body will be professional and the other one would be voluntary, as it is done in the European Union. All in all, we propose this in such a way that it is possible to reinforce the acting of the Chilean Fire Department before great events happen like the one mentioned above. For your attention, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, our first speakers have already stated that firefighters attend natural emergencies. So, first, it is not enough with what they have. Being a volunteer, firefighters of Chile is not protected by the system against the danger to which they are exposed every day to keep the community safe. Despite the different laws that have occurred over the years, the department needs more attention in the area of safety and budget. Just as our country has greatly reinforced the armed forces in the past decade, that great focus should include firefighters as well. Avoid the few resources with which they carry and try to compensate through collections and other types of solidarity. An example of this was last year, 2019, when the executive branch commanded by Sebastián Piñera ordered to modify the 2020 budget law, adding 3,000 million pesos to the armed forces. But was it necessary for so much for a single sector of the state? That money could have helped improve the tools with which firefighters risk their lives, creating more security in such dangerous work. Also, Lagos Weber said the following: "We must continue protecting firefighters. We have already ensured that all volunteers have life insurance or that toll barriers are raised when they go to an emergency. As long as this service remains voluntary, we must continue giving volunteers more social protection so that people keep joining the fire department. We invite government authorities to continue with constant financial support and without discounts to modernize the firefighters' infrastructure and to provide the best safety equipment available for firefighters." Thank you.
Thank you. Now speaker number 3 from the proposition team.
Good morning, teachers and classmates. My name is Catalina Cunha, and as you know, this house states that the Chilean firefighting institution should always stay as a non-volunteer force. First of all, I would like to assess a few arguments mentioned by the negative team. Those arguments are related to the fact that they need more equipment, that they need more safety, that they should receive more support from the government, and that the government should manage the budget in a better way. All of these arguments are actually irrelevant to the debate because we are debating if they should be paid. We're talking about people, we are talking about payment, we are not talking about equipment, we are not talking about budget. Therefore, all those arguments are actually irrelevant because that's not the topic of the debate at all. On the other hand, you also talk about the risk of the occupation, and we all know the danger in this occupation, and that's a fact that no one can deny. But being a firefighter means risking your life in counter situation. However, this doesn't necessarily have to translate into remuneration. Volunteer firefighter Juan Enrique Julio, superintendent of the Santiago's Fire Brigade, said that in an interview that if they dedicated all of their time to firefighting, they surely wouldn't do it as well as they do now. In his own words, when you do any activity because you love it and not because you have to do it, then you will certainly do it much better. That means that you don't have to pay them for having a better service. Not at all, because they want to do it. If you pay them, then it's an obligation that they have to do. It's not something that they love to do and that they are prepared to do because they want to do it. Thank you very much.
Right on time. Thank you. Is there another speaker number 3 in your group? In the proposition team?
Not that I know right now.
Okay, it was Josefa?
Josefa, yeah.
She's still absent. Is Josefa still absent?
I think. Otherwise, you will tell me that she's right there. But
Yeah, Josefa, I
no.
think that she didn't show up.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so,
she just has arguments in like creative rebuttals, but she
but
can't
you
say
don't know
them.
them. Okay, do not worry. Thank you. Now we go with the opposition team then. Opposition team, speakers number 3.
Okay. About the state of corruption and the state, let me tell you that unfortunately, corruption has appeared even as an institution made of volunteers. Radio Cooperativa revealed a report on April 5, 2017, which says that a fire superintendent, which name is Fabian Villablanca, would have charged 56 million for putting out a fire in the facility's trash in Concepcion. There was a violation of Article 2 in law which says the institutions that are affected are prevented from charging for emergency service. What do we want to say with this? Regardless of being a paid or volunteer institution, there will always be money, which may or may not be from the state. Where there is money, there will always be the possibility of some type of corruption. And the other thing about money brings ambition. Working in something that we like or are passionate about allows us to do it more efficiently, so we will not lose our vocation or enthusiasm. In fact, many countries have a mixed system where volunteer and paid firefighters work together. Also, our argument proposed that there be a training system similar to the Armed Force, where specialization in different areas is allowed, such as fires in urban areas, chemical emergencies, automobile accidents, and others. So ambition is not enough to pass this intensive training. And that's what I have to say about that argument. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, se escucha. We know, we know that has been a tradition for years, but that not a foundation that supports today. Because now there are different needs compared to that time. According to a study by the Ministry of Social Development, the unemployment rate nationwide exceeds 11.2% of the population. If the fire department were paid, it would bring more possibilities of employment that could probably help the most needy. And the generosity and empathy would be lost is not enough. Despite the fact the institution mostly prefers to continue working for free for this concept, we could implement a mixed system where both volunteer and paid firefighters can work together to help those who have more difficulties with double work, in addition to the stress, like physical and mental, that implies. Also, if the fire department were considered as the armed force, the pension system could be improved. That's what I have to say.
Thank you, Fabricio. Speaker 4, proposition team. You've got a minute.
Hello, my name is Len, and to close today, finally, we as a team strongly believe that our arguments are more powerful than yours because of the following reasons. First, we look for a lot of information finding testimonies of firefighters who doesn't want to be paid. Second, one of your arguments is based on a statistic, not the firefighter opinion. I would like to say they are not kids. They don't want to be paid. And the last one is that your defense is weak. Two of your arguments are absolutely irrelevant. They were invalidated. And you also say that money means that there's a possibility of ambition. You know, that's something like contradicting with your arguments, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. The final speaker of the opposition team, please.
Good morning. My name is Matias Costa, and we will tell you the conclusion with my partner Octavio Quiros. Finally, we can say that firefighters should not be volunteers because, as one partner said, it is a high risk risk job in which firefighters, not being an institution that is protected by the system, as the armed forces, are exposed too much, and also a person does do out of generosity and empathy to the community. Generosity is not going to save lives or put out fires, but the previous preparation as the armed forces that have schools for this, not just a course and then become a firefighter. In conclusion, firefighters should be not be volunteers. Thank you for your attention, and I left you with Octavio.
Octavio.
The firefighter department is definitely one of the most noble and humble corporations that we can meet in our country. However, it has been shown that humility and good behavior is not a fair price to risk their lives. We are talking about firefighters needing a salary, and as has been previously stated, this is something that can both benefit of or harm it. In any case, we believe it to be this way. A solid salary, insurance, and budget are the main needs of firefighters, because we don't have to think about the officials. We also have to think about their families. Although it sounds cruel, we cannot give notice of firefighters' death with a simple letter and sad face when delivering it. For such a risky and dedicated job, we cannot allow the brave fighters return home empty-handed and hard-bodied.
Thank you very much. This is the end of debate number 1. So now you can relax. Team of Catalina, Team Fabricio. This is the end of your first debate. Congratulations for your performance. All the comments are going to be made at the end. Due to the second debate that we have pending. So if I make any comments, that may be helpful for the next team, right? So, but congratulations in general for the counter-arguments, especially. So let me see. Is Felipe, Joaquín, Renata, Sebastiana's, Felipe, Alexis, Agustin's team ready?
Yes.
Yes, and what about Maida's group? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so as you remember, let me remind you something. You've got speakers 1, a proposition, then speakers 1, opposition, speakers 2, proposition, speakers 2, opposition, and so on and so forth. All right? So it is like a ping pong, a zigzag. Just for you to know that the camera needs to be on during the whole presentation of the second debate. So all the persons that are a part of the second debate must have it on. Eduardo, I know from the day number 1 you don't have it. Josefina, you were, when you were debating in debate number 1, what happened to your camera? Because that is one of the aspects in the evaluation, the way you do the presentation. So I was worried about that. Okay, so Josefina, I was talking about during the presentation. Meanwhile, why is it important? Because as you can see, one of the aspects that is assessed is the part of the presentation that considers the reaction of the other team members. So that is something that I have to be paying attention to. All right. So Eduardo, since you have that problem, and I know that problem is present since the beginning of the Propedéutico, you're going to be assessing the tone of the voice. So try to use your voice in a very good way so I can evaluate with your intonation, your presentation. All right, Eduardo?
Ok, intuí que iba a ser algo así, así que lo practiqué un poco. Así
Okay.
que, okay.
Awesome. So you have to be an actor. Yes, Jose?
Were you asking me to me?
Yes, I was asking you because you were in debate number 1, right?
Yes. I thought I had my camera on.
You thought you had it on. Okay, it wasn't
but
on.
if you want, I can do it again. I don't have any problem.
No, not necessary, because it is not now important, but do not worry.
Okay, thank
It
you.
already passed. Okay, so let's go with the rest. Renata Millas will be back in a second because she had a problem, so she's going to enter in a second. Okay, so remember, speaker 1, speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. All right? We are going to wait for Renata Millas to join again.
Miss?
Yes?
I'm here, Miss.
Okay, there she is. Cristobal, you were saying?
Can you repeat the order?
Yes, of course. I'm going to show it to you, in fact, so you can all see it again. As we said in the PowerPoint, the order is speaker 1, proposition, speaker 1, opposition, speaker 2, proposition, speaker 2, opposition, speaker 3, proposition, speaker 3, opposition, and we close with speaker 4, proposition. The last one is the speaker 4, opposition.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. So from now on, it's the second debate. And we start with the proposition team. Speaker number 1, 1 minute, start.
Good morning, Miss and classmates. The topic of today's debate is firefighters. This side of the house is in favor that firefighters should remain a voluntary institution permanently. To put in context, firefighters are a public service for people. They dedicate part of their time voluntarily to extinguish fires, rescue people, and attend emergencies caused by nature such as earthquakes or floods. To defend your position, in this argument we defend the idea that for firefighters the right is the appreciation of the people and carry this right to continue the tradition of behind a voluntary institution. While in argument 2 we will talk about the legal organization and funding what does the state give them.
Speaker number 1, opposition. Is there another speaker number 1 in proposition? No? Okay, speaker number 1, opposition team, please.
Good morning, Miss. Good morning, classmates. The topic of our debate is Bomberos de Chile should not stay as an all-volunteer force. And we as a negative team believe that this statement is false. So most of the times firefighters become an institution when there's or has been a huge fire that requires all community to react and help. Just like that was what happened in Chile in 1851. An organization of firemen was created in Valparaiso. The group that they had began to be replicated in the country as Cuerpos de Bomberos Voluntarios. Before this existed, related to the organization of the institution, it was composed by policemen and citizens in general, obviously without knowledge about it or necessary equipment. Although there were intentions by the government to take over, these never went beyond that. Firefighters are people whose job is to extinguish fire. This job that we are talking about is not a paid one, they volunteer for it. This means that they are not obligated to do it. Firemen are absolutely necessary for our society because of the security that is needed, but this safeness should be provided by the state, whose job is to ensure the wellness of the people. This house is against the proposed. We believe that not all firemen should be volunteers.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 2, proposition, 2 minutes.
Ese soy yo, ¿cierto? El argumento 1. De a favor.
Speaker number 1, proposition. Speaker number 2, proposition starts.
Ya, Bomberos de Chile, despite their risky work, refuse to receive a salary and refuse to stop being a volunteer organization. According to them, their work is completely voluntary, since, for them, the real pay is in the satisfaction of helping others, saving lives, and fulfilling their duty. The president of Bomberos de Chile, Miguel Reyes, says that its members want to continue being volunteers, since, in addition to believing that people's gratitude is more than enough, the fact that firefighters are a volunteer institution is due to their attachment to tradition. As Sergio Albornoz, president of the Junta Nacional de Bomberos, says, if we were to be a firefighter 24 hours a day, we will not do as well as now. And he also says, when you do something just because you love that activity and you don't have to earn a living from it, you do it much better. Thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo. Any other speaker? Number 2. From that team? No, we are ready with the 2 speakers, Sebastián and Eduardo. Proposition, am I right?
Yes.
Opposition team, please, the speakers 2.
Okay. Good morning, Miss, and
Good morning,
present in
Alex.
this court. First point we want to say in opposition to the House is that currently, with the determined status of the firefighter and their associations, it requires that people who want to be firefighters and do the training course, all type of expenses, whether total or not, must be paid for in own way, in work implements and in the course themselves. This ends in loss of many people who could be experienced firefighters. Because of not having the course, it is more difficult to get in, and started by firefighters from the third fire company of Valparaiso. If it were a private institution managed perhaps by the state, all this will change and the new world will be more stable and equal like other models external to Chile.
Good morning, I'm Joaquin Quesada and I will present the second argument of my team. Well, nowadays, the Chilean Fire Department is managed by the members of each station and applicants independently, who are instructed through self-pay courses implemented by the CBB or the Centro of Bomberos of Valparaíso and the ANB, the Academia Nacional of Bomberos. This fire station operates with a low economic support from the state and a small contribution from the firemen to the company that may or may not be existing, dependent on the members and the internal organization, as endorsed by Mr. Andrés Oyarzun, a candidate for the third fire company of Valparaíso. If the state provided the necessary support and was the general organizer of the fire companies in Chile, all firefighters in the country will be able to work with the same conditions, increasing the efficiency of their work since they will receive all the necessary material, as well as being able to increase people's safety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Agustin. I say the last argument from my team. Okay. As you well know, the Chile firefighting institution.
Just a second, Agustin. Are you speaker number 3 from the opposition team?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, thank you.
Profe, falto yo.
Yes, I think so. Okay, Sebastián.
Ya. ¿Me toca?
Because Sebastián, wait a second. Sebastián Lara, you're from the proposition team, right?
Yes.
Yes, and you were saying that you need to say something else?
No he hablado, bro.
He's a speaker too. Sebastián
Yes,
is a speaker too. So
yes, he's a speaker
We
too.
have two.
Maida?
Eduardo talked first, and then was Sebastian's turn.
Yes, I
But
know.
he talked
But-
first.
Okay. Okay, so just go on with your order. Follow your order and go on.
Now I am going to present our second argument that emphasizes the Chilean firefighting budget. It is the same firefighter who refused to receive a salary, and the vast majority of firefighters think that receiving money to finance equipment and tools is more efficient than receiving money for salaries. Many fire companies are short of tools and equipment, which can be detrimental to their work. What is more, when applicants who want to be firefighters enter, they are given expired helmets and equipment which, due to years that have passed under exposure, have lost effectiveness. Because of this, the vast majority of firefighting companies carry out campaigns and activities to raise money. Money that is used to update major equipment. Money that is used in specialist training. Money that is used in everything necessary to respond more quickly and efficiently to emergencies. So, in conclusion, Bomberos de Chile do not ask to be paid. They ask to have everything necessary to do their job that so much effort, time, and love have been dedicated to them. Eso.
Thank you, Sebastian. So now we are ready for speaker number 3 of the opposition team, Agustin.
Miss?
Yes?
There are one participant of
Alexis?
my group that didn't speak, and is the third speaker of the. Is the second speaker, but is the third argument.
Okay. So you've got another speaker number 2.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
Agustin
What
Frias.
person? Agustin. Okay. So now I understand. But he's still speaker number 2 again.
Yeah, but you skip it.
Okay. Go.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. As is well known, the Chile's firefighting institution is an institution that supports people, security, in relation to many types of emergency. With the aforementioned arguments, we're proposing a much better system where Bomberos de Chile will begin to be a stable kind of job that ensures citizens' life and their belongings if it's required. This way, the amount of work and work depending of the position will have an optional payment to make up the risks without doing any harm to the origin of the company. The application will be totally voluntary, same as now, but the beginning supported by the states and company for the implements, but not for the courses. So then so they can be totally capacity professional. Like this, the effectivity of the work can increase, ensure the life of the firemen and people, the necessary support and that is needed for each company could be given of the and the fight future could have more type of work to do than now. Thank you.
Thank you, Agustin. Okay, now you can continue. Opposition? Speaker number 3? Because he was the speaker number 2 of opposition, am I right? Or was he speaker 3? Now
Yeah.
I'm quite confused with Agustin.
Now speaker three or
Proposition.
proposition, yes.
Okay, thank you. And that person is?
Maida.
Maida?
Yes.
¿Cómo? Pero, ¿quién
Maida.
habló? Perdón, es que no caché si era speaker 2 o speaker 3, me perdí.
No, Maida, it is just finished. Agustin, who said that he was another speaker number 2 of the opposition team. So that means that you start with your presentation of speaker 3 proposition.
Yeah, I got it. All right, but as we all know, firefighters wants to keep working as volunteers because they feel better working in that way. Also, I remember that Alexis said something that they need the resources to do their job better, but all of the firefighters, for not saying most of them, have great jobs and they are paid really well. So they are working in firefighters because they feel that they are doing something really good. It's like they don't need to be paid for that. And as one of my partners say, they need like something like when they do their rifas. I can say that. I don't know how to say that. And they are better.
Is that it? Maida? Yes? I think so. So speaker number 3, any other speaker number 3 from the proposition team?
Me.
Apart from Maida?
Me.
Cristobal.
As Joaquin Quesada says, the condition of working of the firefighters are not really good, but in this debate, we are talking about salary. And if you want to have better working conditions, the salary is not an option to increase this quality. As Renata Maida says, a lot of firefighters have good salaries because they have good works. And as we know, they don't have good conditions. So in the argument of Joaquin, we have to divide in two different aspects, the salary and the condition work. So if we are talking about condition, it's the country, the state, that have to provide them good conditions and stuff to work. But the remuneration is not necessary because it's a volunteer. As we said, as Joaquin, as Eduardo said on the argument, they don't want to be paid. They are very good doing as a volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cristóbal. And we finish with go with the opposition team now. Speakers 3, opposition. Renata, Felipe.
The other Felipe said he wants to talk first.
Okay.
No, I said that you should start.
No, Felipe Catalan says that Felipe Hinojosa starts.
Oh, okay. I read bad. Sorry. I wanted to say that the first argument of the other team, it was that Bomberos de Chile refused pay because mainly it was to attachment to tradition. Like in their Juramento de Bomberos de Chile, they say they want to get paid and they can refuse to that. But if I wanted to say like the criteria to getting paid is that I want to get paid, maybe there will be a lot of jobs that have like a high amount of pay, like even politicians will be gaining more money if they wanted to get more paid. But the criteria of work isn't the criteria of getting paid isn't want to get paid. It's more like the effort and of the job they're going to. So we think Bomberos de Chile need pay because their work is is enormous, more like various jobs that gain pay. It's not like it's not enough saying that they don't want to get paid because they actually need pay. And there's a lot of firefighters that can pay their own cost of being part of bomberos, but there are a lot that they can't, and they can't be firefighters for the same reason, and they should be. They're losing much amount of people that could be firefighters and can't because of the pay. That's all of me. I lend the talk to our other Felipe.
Felipe,
Okay.
don't forget
Yeah.
your camera.
I can't. My internet is really bad.
Okay.
Miss Mana Paula knows. Okay. Well, good morning, Miss and classmates. I'm going to present the other counter argument of this group, and the other team said that firefighters are doing great with not being paid, but we as a team believe that they not should be paid. They need to be paid. And why is that? Because as national president of the Bomberos de Chile, Raúl Bustos, said, they are an institution that lives in a constant financial deficit, which means that constantly they spend more money than what they have. If we go to the internet and enter the Bomberos de Chile page and go to the finances section, we can see that in the last 5 years, they used 25,526,296 money that they don't have, which in 2015 the debt was 10,322,235. In 2016 was 1,515,828. In 2017 was 7,459,752. 2018 was 3,148,216, and until August in 2019, they already have a debt of 3,080,265. And this gets even worse if we realize that all this money is shown in thousands of Chilean pesos. So all this amount needs to be multiplied for 1,000. So we as the opposition team believe that with this information, it's obvious that we can say that Bomberos de Chile have a good finance and consequently that they don't need more money and that they are doing great with just being volunteer and not getting paid. Thanks.
Thank you. Proposition. Grisel, Joaquín.
In summary, Bomberos de Chile don't want to get paid for their job because, according to them, their work is completely voluntary. Since for them, the real pay is in the satisfaction of helping others, saving lives, and fulfilling their duty.
Also, Bomberos de Chile want to get paid to finance their equipment because it's very expensive and a lot of firefighters companies have to do activities to collect money and pay fees to buy their equipment. And that's why Bomberos de Chile must remain a voluntary service. Thank you for your attention.
Is that all for the proposition team closure? Grisel?
Yes, it's all.
Opposition team. Speaker 4, Renata?
Yes. Can you hear me properly, Miss?
Yes, I do.
Okay. That's great. Well, to conclude, we take up our position that the Chilean Fire Department, also known as Bomberos de Chile, shouldn't stay as an all-volunteer force, because with better regulation and financial help from the state, the different companies in the country could work more efficiently and equally. Also, financial support from the state would motivate more people to join firefighters without having to worry so much about whether they have the resources to pay for everything that job requires. Finally, the department must be a stable institution since the safety of people depends on it. That's why in our arguments a reform was proposed, which includes, among other things, greater stability in schedules, a voluntary income that after years of service can qualify for a salary, and greater financial aid from the state. Firefighters work to save our lives. They must be valued, respected, and considered as the decent work they are. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Renata. Okay, so that is the end of debate number 2, right? So now you're finished. Both of the teams from the opposition and proposition team of Felipe and team of Mayra. Okay, so now to finish our session of today, let me ask you a few questions, and then we are going to go on with what comes next. Talking about Catalina's group, can we go back with you, Catalina? I'm going to start talking with you first. So Catalina, Fabricio, Felipe, and Mayra, I'm going to be talking to you in this moment. I would like to ask you about how you organize yourselves and how was the experience. Also, I would like you to tell me if your organization as a team was easy to make or not, and what you learned, what you take out from this experience. Cata, I'm going to go with you first, then Fabricio, Felipe, and then we finish with Mayra. So talk about your group organization, the experience, and also what you learned, if you learned something from it, and what you think about it.
The organization wasn't really difficult. Actually, we made our WhatsApp group and organized everything through that. So we pretty much ask, what do you want to do, and they can choose. Um, Hopefully, they all got what they wanted to do, and then we made like teams. For example, the argumenters made their own team, and they could work together. Their rebuttals as well, and pretty much everyone organized what they wanted to say by their side, and then we all came back and we were like, all right, I'm gonna say this, this, and this, so you all know. I pretty much learned that you have to be prepared for whatever it could happen, because you never know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Especially because you had a situation in your group, right?
Yeah, because for example, we had a number of rebuttals, and I had to say one from Josefa because she wasn't here, but they actually talk about it, so it was important to say it, though it wasn't my actual thing.
That's right. Okay, so that was fine. Thank you very much, Catalina. Fabricio, let's talk about the group organization and what you learned from this experience.
The organization with my team was easy. The past Saturday, we made instantly a WhatsApp group. So from that moment, we were communicating between us. Then in the week, we occurred to specific days to work and the time. So the first day we were talking, searching for information, and the next day was start with the argument and writing, and then translate, because we start with Spanish and then we translate the information.
That's right, because all the information about Bomberos de Chile is in Spanish, right?
Yeah, the information, news, all that. But was really funny, really interesting. I really enjoy the working with the team. Was cool. And what I learned to.
It can be something tangible or not. It can be something like in connection with Bomberos that you didn't know, or it can be something about learning how to organize yourselves, or maybe something that has to do with the language, whatever. Like, what do you personally think that was something that you say, okay, this is what I take from this experience?
Well, I learned to criticize because we were talking about all because like the money that get the state gives to Carabinero, we were making comparison in that form. We were recollecting information.
Thank you, Fabricio. Thank you for that organization, because I could see it during the debate. Felipe Hinojosa.
Yes. Well, our organization was pretty good. We worked 3 days, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Yes. The first day, it was funny because we didn't like reach any conclusion. Like we only just talk and talk and talk and talk. And when we have like a main idea, like all of us have the same idea, we say, well, next day we came with a better idea, like formada, no sé cómo se dice. And then the second day we work like super fast. We make the 3 arguments, the intro, and all. And the last day we're okay, yeah, and yeah, we're okay. 15 minutes. So yeah, the organization was pretty good. One thing I learned was it's easy to make this work in English, because we acted in Spanish, and maybe it was only me, but I have problems like traducing this to English in the moment, because I didn't like. I have the irrefutable,
part. So it was hard to think and traducing at the same time. So if I practice in English, it would be easier.
I see. That's important. You see, that's something that comes out from this experience.
Yes.
Thank you, Felipe. Maida, where's Maida? I don't see Maida.
I'm
Where are you?
here.
Okay. Hello, Maida again. Tell us, what was the organization of
Fine.
your group like, and how did you feel with it? Also, what you learned from this
Uh,
experience?
I think that our organization was good. At the beginning, it was kind of difficult to divide the work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like who's gonna be speaker one, speaker two, and but then that was good. I guess. I guess that I think that my team did a really good job.
Okay, and what about the what you learned from this experience?
Mm, I actually knew not at all, but I mean not too much, but I know something about firefighters, and because a teacher in my school is a firefighter, so sometimes I talk with them about his work and something like that. But I didn't learn too much actually.
So the things
I
that
mean about
you used, you
firefighter.
already knew them.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now, I'm talking to the whole group before we finish. Sebastian Lara said that he enjoyed the experience. I would like to hear, like all of you. First, I would like to know if any person from this group ever had an experience of debating in English, if yes or no. And the second question is there any person that had to say something that didn't agree on? Like, for example, saying that the firefighters needed to be paid, even if you think that they shouldn't be, or did it happen to any of you that you were saying something that you don't really think of? So those are the two questions. First, have you ever had the experience before of debating in English? And second, if you were saying something that you didn't agree on. So the question is open to any of you. Is there anybody who had experience before?
Me?
Okay, tell me about, Jose, tell me about your experience.
It wasn't like a formal debate like this. It was like an open discussion. At school, we always discuss about themes of society. But this experience was very different because it was online.
Yes.
And I think that is more difficult because we can't see the oppositors' faces. We can look at the other to their eyes. And I think that difficults the work of the debate.
I totally agree with that.
Yes, and that was my experience.
Thank you, Jose, for sharing. What about the rest? Did anybody say something you don't agree on? Or you were all convinced about what you were saying? Yes?
I don't know if I would say convinced.
Yeah.
Because for me, if the firefighters don't want to be paid, don't pay them. It's just as simple as that. And obviously, when I had to like research all the information, all the things like Maximiliano said about the government paying like I don't know what exact the number is, but they put more money into the I don't know how to say military forces. Military forces.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. That was
And
something that caught my attention. It was, wow, I didn't know it was that much money.
yeah, and when
3,000 million pesos.
That was amazing. I knew it was a lot, but when I heard you saying that, it was like, what? That's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Chile.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes it's because of the things that they have to buy. I mean, if you are thinking about a huge boat, I don't know how to explain it, but that won't be
Yeah,
cheap.
they
It
are
doesn't
super
matter.
expensive.
Yeah, and they can't have a really, really old one because there could be an accident, and that will mean like a lot of people dying. Like in Argentina, about 2 years ago, I think there was an
I don't
accident
know.
with the Navy. Yeah, with a submarine.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know that, but that is a lot of money.
Yeah, way too
A
much
lot
money,
of
and most of it's inverting all the forces, actually, not the armed forces, like law, like carabineros and PDI, more than military and all that.
That's a lot anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were saying that information, Rodrigo, you were saying something about that. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, when you look at that information, it makes you think what we are doing, like as a country,
Mhm.
because with all the things that had happened between these 2 years
Mhm.
that have passed, you can understand, like with that example, why people always can disagree with the government. I don't know if you do. Do you know what I mean?
I totally understand what
Yeah.
you. I see your point. Now, thank you for sharing that with us, Rodrigo, and for all of you. Before we finish, let me tell you what we are going to be doing from next class on. Next class, we start with another topic that is labor market. And that means that we are going to change our skill. We were doing the speaking skill. Now we are going to combine it with speaking and writing, because I'm going to be teaching you how to express preferences for writing a letter. That is a letter where you express your intentions of working in a certain place, or applying for a job, or applying for a university scholarship. That's something that you are going to be definitely doing in your future. So that's why I'm going to be doing this with you, because there is a letter that is called cover letter, or a statement that some universities abroad, even in Chile, if you want to study for a master's degree, they ask you to write. So I'm going to teach you how to write that and organize your speech. That is going to be from next class on, and that is going to be your third evaluation about. So thank you very much for all your participation today. I have to revise this recording to be able to assess you and evaluate you, but I have to say that you did an excellent job, and I have to congratulate you for all the rebuttals and all the things that you did. So thank you for paying attention with all that respect to the other team, and it was a very good presentation from you. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next class.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Miss.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.
Have a good
Bye,
weekend.
Miss.
Bye, Miss.
Bye.